Okay, I think we have enough time for most folks to get here. Hey, welcome to Heat Press for Profit, the evening edition. I'm Bob Robinson, and in this session, our focus will be on getting started, or maybe before you get started with a printer cutter. You've all experienced a whole lot of great information from the Stahls team. Has done an excellent job of bringing you a lot of views of products and processes in all of the presentations, exceptional solid presentations. And we hope you found it helpful and that it's even game-changing to your business. And we appreciate you all joining us for the last couple of days. So with us is Mark, the ever-capable Mark Schwab, and he's moderating and helping out with the chat. And I do encourage you to utilize that chat. Ask the questions. You know, we don't want this to be, we want this to be an interactive type of thing. So we want to answer the questions, tailor this to your needs. And so you're getting the information that's helpful for you. Speaking of the session, it may look a little different than the ones you've seen to date. As you can see, I don't have access to a printer. I don't have a fancy studio, but we'll cover some really good information that should help you see the value in the digital print and cut process. All right, so that being said, let's dig in. I'm going to share my screen, and this is everybody's holding their breath that I can handle this. Mostly me. There we go. Hopefully everybody's got that. So we are talking about getting started with a printer cutter, and specifically the Roland printer cutter. That's the brand that we carry. It's kind of the one that most accepted in the industry as far as print and cut goes. And take a good look, you know, because I have a lack of samples and different things to show you here in my current position. But that screen that you're seeing there is everything you see there, all the apparel and all the different items, all done with the solvent inkjet printer cutter. So you have the ability to do all these full color type of items. So just once you kind of get that in your brain, because I don't have a whole lot of visuals there, though we do have some video, and we're going to talk. We'll get a little interactive with some of the programs as well. But more and more customers are wanting full color designs. While 1 and 2 color images have their place, many logos and designs are just crying out for multicolor. And there are several different processes out there to achieve this in-house, and each process has its pros and cons. So the trick is to find the process that has more pros than cons and has the versatility for what you need. So next slide. We'd like to compare these processes. And you see 3 different processes there on the screen. We're going to go through the pros and cons just briefly of each one. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail, but get a good overview about each one. So traditional screen printing, number 1, and we're talking about direct to the fabrics type of screen printing. And it's really it's become the standard at which everything's measured against. You know, so when you look at all the other processes, they're always comparing to screen printing. But the original, it's the go-to, it's what most people know. It's actually become almost the generic term for full color printing onto a shirt, or for just at least printing onto a shirt. You know, a lot of customers who just don't even understand the process that you do will say, hey, can you screen print this for me? And they're not even knowing, having a clue that you're even just using a standard vinyl cutter in HTV or something. Yeah, so it is the most commonly accepted process. And these are the pros. It's low cost to produce in volume, but not in short volumes. You're paying, you know, the more colors you have, the more you're going to pay. The shorter, the smaller the volume there is, your quantities, the more you're going to pay. But it does have good durability, fast production after setup, and you actually can color match a lot easier with the screen print. Now, when it comes to the cons, it's largely spot color printing. You're not going to get the 4-color process or the gradients and fades and photo quality type of images. It's messy, lots of chemicals. You need a lot of extra space, more so than a lot of the other processes. There's a longer learning curve. It's a busy process. We counted at one point, there's over 30 different individual steps it takes to actually screen print a job. And with all the emulsions and the cleaning of the screens and the color art separation, there's a whole lot going on there. So it's not as it sounds, which makes us appreciate what the folks at Transfer Express do, because all the benefits of screen printing there But all you need is a heat press, which I'm sure you've heard that several times throughout these sessions. But it's true. If I were going to start a business right now, I would just buy a heat press or transfers from the beginning and then go from there. But anyway, back to our process. Front end art creation and color separation. That's a big thing up front. And synthetic fabrics are challenging. It's difficult to apply to anything much 100% cotton or maybe 50-50. There's just a lot of issues there. Okay, so second process, DTG, direct to garment. And we're going over these because we want to contrast the process we're talking about as compared to what else is out there. But DTG, direct to garment printing, has made some pretty good advances over the years. When it first came out, it was very, very sketchy. But now it has improved. It's become a viable player in the industry. But the pros for DTG, unlimited colors, okay? Just like the other digital type of process, gradients and fades are achievable, photo quality images, soft hand for the most part. And that depends on, how much ink you're piling on there and what type of pre-treat that you're using and how well you're doing it. But it has decent durability. I'm not going to say it's exceptionally durable, but it's decent durability, acceptable. It will start to fade and wash out after so many washes, but it holds up well enough for most industry. Minimal art prep, so it's really not a whole lot of no color separations here like you do with screen print, where you have to separate one layer to the other, and every station has its own color. So it's because it's essentially using an inkjet process as well. And it's ideal for one-offs. Screen print is not for one-offs. That's a fact. It's not even for 5s, 10s, and 20s for the most part. Most people have some good volume there to actually even think about burning a screen. Now, the cons of DTG, no economy of scale. When I say economy of scale, it just costs the same to produce one as it does 100. So there's no real savings for having a higher volume job. It's largely used for 100% cotton, as we talked about. It's the polyester process is still, in my mind, still not there, although I haven't been really dug into it in the last year or two. But to date, it's been very, very difficult, if not impossible, to actually use the DTG onto polyester, unless you're going to spend an exorbitant amount of money. You're getting into hundreds of thousands for some of those that will do that. Other issues with DTG, it's difficult or impossible to print on accessories. So it's largely just for t-shirts. The platens that you can see there, the little pouch where the t-shirt is on, is largely set up for just a t-shirt type of, or a flat surface. Sometimes, there are other little ones that they've worked out and work around some things, but for the most part, it's there for t-shirts. Pre-treat can be finicky and leave stains. Print heads can clog if not used regularly. So there's a lot of maintenance with the DTG, and exceptional amount of ink usage. You can really count the cost for the DTG, what the ink for that particular shirt was, but the real challenge or the real test is how much ink did I buy over the course of a month, and how many shirts did I produce? Because there's a lot that kind of goes down the drain tube. Know this from past experience. You also need a climate-controlled room. It's very necessary. There's humidity levels that have to be achieved for this to function properly. And that's about the extent of the, not beating it down, but we're just showing you the differences between the two. Lastly, sublimation. Sublimation printing. Those of you who don't know what sublimation is, it's really more of a dye process. So you're printing out of an inkjet printer, the dye, the sublimation ink, so to speak, onto a paper. Then you put that onto a shirt or a soft coat or whatever, something that has a large polyester content that has to be white or light or very light. And then at 380 to 400 degrees, magic happens. That solid turns into a gas and it migrates into the polyester. So it's really dyeing the shirt. So that's a good thing when it comes to actual hand and durability. So the pros for the dye sub: unlimited colors, gradients and fades, photo quality images, just like the DTG. Super soft hand because now the dyes are dyeing into the fabric. Exceptional durability, minimal art prep, so all good stuff. Ideal for one-offs, breathability, and the ability to print full color on select hard goods, because you've got some hard goods that you can get into the heat press as long as they're coated with a polyester polymer there to accept those dyes. Now, the cons. No real economy of scale, so it's more like a one-off type of scenario that costs the same to do one as it does 100. Largely used for 100% polyester. And this is some of the drawbacks. You can pretty much stuck with one type of fabric. It must be white or very light polyester. So if you're printing something yellow onto navy, it's going to be just a hint of green on there. You're not going to see the actual color show through. Print heads can clog if not used regularly, and it's a real high temperature. You're pressing upwards of 400 degrees and for a long dwell time, usually a minute to 3 minutes, depending on whatever you're pressing. Yeah, so yeah, those are the processes we're comparing against right now, to contrast the process that we're about to really dig into. So I want to get a good background on that. Do we have any questions that's popped up in the chat, Mark? We're good?
We do not yet, Bob. You're doing
a
very thorough presentation.
I must be ridiculously thorough, or you're all half asleep because it's late where you are. Anyway, all right, no problem. All right, so we've compared the processes. Now the full color solution, if I can get my screen changed up, there we go, is the print and cut process. Now, real basics here, it's durable and safe eco-solvent ink. So this process is an inkjet printer. So it's using the same type of inkjet type of heads. Integrated print and cut technology, meaning it prints and cuts. So I don't have anything to really show you. We're going to show a video in a little bit of how it actually does all that. But as far as loading the materials and everything like that, we'll have to look at there was some videos in the on-demand section that you can look at later. That's very, very detailed if you really need to get into the really nuts and bolts and how it actually functions, what all you have to do. But it is integrated print and cut. It's printing onto a white material every time. So it's printing full color, as many colors as you want, just like any inkjet or digital type of process would be. Has accurate optical registration. So it prints the design, it rolls right back and contour cuts around wherever you put cut lines. Exceptional color gamut, and it's available in an 8-color system, depending on the model. So with that, we'll get into that a little later too, about the difference between the models and why the 8-color versus 4-color, what benefits you get there. But the benefit of all of this is durability. It's exceptionally durable. If you're used for outdoor processes, those inks are good for 3 years with no UV protection. If you're on fabric, all of our digital media that you would print on have all been lab tested for 50+ washing and drying. So they're there, no cracking, no fading, no nothing. It just looks as good as it did when you first pressed it. And we stop at 50. I'm sure it's more durable than that, but that's the industry standard considered the life of the garment. And the versatility of all the different things and the range of product that you can do. So it's versatility of fabrics, or flexibility is one. I'm sorry, I skipped one. Flexibility is all the different types of fabric that you can apply to. And that's based on the media that you're printing on, not necessarily the print itself. And the versatility of all the different things that you can do with it, which we'll get into a list of those in a little later as well. And the range of product and low maintenance, which seems crazy for an inkjet process. But I've been actually selling this type of unit since like 2004, when the very first VersaCam came out, when they moved to this type of process. And I've seen at least 8 to 10, maybe more revisions throughout the time. But the thing that is great about this process is the low maintenance. Now, to say it's maintenance free would just be irresponsible, because it's not. There's going to be maintenance in everything. But for an inkjet process, this is the lowest maintenance that you will see in the industry to produce full color images. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, the inks themselves clean the print head as it goes. So it's keeping that flowing and keeping things happy. But also, if you leave it just plugged in, if you're not going to use it for a while, like all the other processes, they say you got to print every hour or you're going to have problems. Here, it will actually turn itself on and run a quick cleaning cycle through it. So it'll run some ink through the inkjet heads and keep it functioning. So just leave it plugged in and just step away, and it'll keep itself running very well. There are other maintenance as well. Don't get me wrong. Like once a week or every 2 weeks or so, the techs can tell you a little better. You do need to kind of wipe around the print head itself with a swab, and maybe every month. Again, I'm not sure about the cadence on that. Then you get a little bit deeper where you're wiping off wipers and dampers and things like that. But all very basic things that our tech team would be able to show you upon installation. So that's always included in that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so you can see my lovely face, and that's why you came. There you go. How you doing? So the fact sheet about print and cut, and I've got some notes here if you see me looking up just a little bit. I don't want to miss anything. So we gave you all the pros and cons about the other processes, but what you get using the print and cut process is unlimited colors, gradients and fades, photo quality images, vivid colors, print on virtually any fabric with low temp applications. And again, this is the material that Stahls has specifically that allows this, that we have materials, and you've probably seen some of them here in the previous sessions that will apply to virtually any fabric, including cotton, polyester, nylon, spandex, lycra, Fedora. There's just, you just keep going, even polypro. No fabric is off limits. Exceptional durability, we talked about that. Minimal art prep, ideal for short runs. It's much wider array of products to decorate in full color. We'll get into that list that's coming up next. Versatility to produce decals, banners, wall graphics, canvas, etc. Opportunities for add-on sales. So it just keeps going on. So if Roland named this unit originally very properly and calling it the VersaCam, because the versatility that you get from this machine, there's so many things that you can expand into utilizing a print and cut machine. You can print multiple jobs at the same time. You can print a single piece or hundreds. Again, we talked about low maintenance, clean technology. No, you don't need any ventilation or anything like that, because these are eco-solvent inks. They're not harmful to you whatsoever. You may get a very slight odor, not even say odor, but aroma, so to speak, where you just can tell that it's printing occasionally if you're very close to it, but there's nothing damaging there. Unlimited number of colors, photo quality, we talked about that. 100% opacity on dark garments. Now, this is contrasting to the sublimation, where you have to have the white or very light garments. And again, materials for any fabric, any color, no fabrics off limits. Easy to create glitter and foam effects. We even have printable glitter and printable foam now, so that you can get some real special effects utilizing the same full color process, which is difficult or impossible any other way. No pre-treating, no spraying, and it's proven durability and performance. So before you print, what do you have to do? We're getting ready to get into the process. There's, first of all, you need vector art if you're going to do a design. Specifically, or for anything really, it should be vector art. Now, it will print a raster image. Raster images are made up of a bunch of little pixels and not line art like vector art is. But you require vector art just because you need to be able to assign cut lines to that in a graphic arts program like CorelDRAW or Adobe Illustrator. Vector art is important. So what happens next? You bring in your art, whether you vectorize it yourself or it came in vector already, you need to assign cut lines. And this is the process that happens there. You're going to put a cut line around anywhere you want to cut in that image. So if you've got, and you'll see when we showed the video coming up next, everywhere it cut, we had assigned a cut line there. And it's actually pretty simple, especially in Corel. It made that a lot easier than it used to be. It used to be like a 3-step process. Now it's pretty much just clicking a button where you can actually get an outline border around the outside of your image. And so once you have your cut lines assigned, and I will tell you that there's a custom spot color. And this is getting technical, but this is what happens. You'll create a custom spot color called cut contour, 2 capital C's and no spaces. And that particular color, the VersaWorks RIP software reads as a cut line. So it will print all the other colors and it will just cut on that line when it's time for cutting. So the next step is you import this into VersaWorks, and then you select from your queue. And I'm going to do this very quickly if I can share screen, because I have to pull this up first. I think I can do this.
Once again, Bob, you're running clear of questions. So if there are any out there, I'd encourage anybody, just type it in the chat and I'll bring them forward to Bob.
Gotcha. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to share screen and see if I can see if this one works. Mark, you can probably verify this actually shows up when I click share. Are you able to see my VersaWorks? Mark.
Yes, got your main VersaWorks screen.
Perfect. Thanks. Just want to make sure it was across. Okay, so what we've done, we've got the vector art. We assigned cut lines to it. We export it as a PDF or an EPS. Those are the file types that this likes. It's an Adobe-based RIP software. So, but VersaWorks extremely powerful. A lot of stuff going here. It's probably really, we don't push it enough about how versatile and how much you can really do in this RIP software and how easy it is to work. So what we've done, we've already imported the design into our queue, and it's this unicorn down here. As you can see, I've got it selected. So now to process this job very quickly, just want to show you how easy this is to do. You double click on the job, it will bring it up. The very first thing you say is get media width. You start from the top and work down. Get media width. Well, I'm not connected to a device, so it's not going to give me anything. And so I can manually put it in just quickly and just say that went maybe 28 inches. Say we've got a 30-inch machine and we'll allow for about 28 inches worth of print room. So that you can see it change the size of my palette there. At that point, you're dealing with this actual size of the image. Right now it's 6¼ by 8.47 high. I can change that any way I want, sizing wise. Usually customers have pretty specific about what they want. So we'll go with that. And now how many do we want? We just go to quantity or copies, and I can type in whatever I want. Let's just say we want 4 of these just because we can. Oh, that's not going to, looks like we're going to waste some material. I can print 2 more, or we can, there we go. I just clicked on the orientation, actually get them lined up this way so we can maximize how much space you were using on your print media. Then once you have, you're really set up, ready to go. It's important at some point that you look, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this. I'm going to try to zoom in as much as I can, but there's little red dancing ants all the way around every place where we want to cut. That's how you verify that there's an actual cut line on there. So we know that it will print and cut. And those are showing that that's where the cut lines are. So just a little fun fact. So once we're done with this, then we're moving essentially down to quality. And at this point, we're picking a type of material that we're printing on. This kind of, I'm going to say I'm printing on Express Print. Nice thing is this profile is already set up to for all the settings to be already set and maximized and optimized for this particular printer using these inks, using that material. So I don't have to tinker with it and see if I can fine tune it. It's already done this is pretty much as good as it'll get. So we don't have to worry. We always know that we've got the best application possible. It defaults to true rich color. I made it stay there because it's been the best for us. And then the only last thing you want to do is go down here and make sure that you have default media settings on the heater controls. And I'm not going to get into all the detail about the heaters, what's on the back of that. You can watch those videos, but that's an important part of it. It's set at the proper temperature and it's based on the profile default media settings. And so you're not having to, again, change any of those. So once you've got all that done, I can't even get to because I have so many things up here. My little chat box is in the way. At that point, you would just basically close this and go back to the original screen and hit print, and it's ready to go. So I just want to show you how quickly and easy that is to perform, to prep the design and get it going to VersaWorks or getting to the printer itself. All right, so I'm going to have to stop sharing and then share again so that we can get to the part that I think is important for you to see is actual print job. So let me share screen again. This time we'll do it on the printer itself. All right, printer should be up and we're going to start it rolling. I was kind of talk over because there's no real, hang on, go back to the beginning. There we go. So this isn't even the device that's current right now. I've told you they keep updating these machines. This is only a couple years old, so they've made more improvements than on this model that we have here. As you can see, it's printing back and forth, just laying down the ink onto the white paper or the white media. This I really can't tell because I didn't produce this video. I see it's only 20 inches wide. It may make me think that it might be like our SuperTech opaque. or maybe all we had was 20-inch wide medium. We shot the designer, or it could be express print. Either way, they all perform very similarly. We'll get into those different media types if we have time, but express print is kind of our go-to. So it prints the design, and you can print as many or little or few as you want on here. It's good to maximize the media so that you've got any space left over, fill it up with something. Once it's done printing, it's going to go roll right back in. It's going to pick up the cutting mechanism on the head, and it's going to cut exactly wherever those dancing ants were in our VersaWorks. So it's actually cutting right exactly wherever you assigned those cut lines to. Now it's cutting around the outside, of course, and you'll see there's some cavities and things inside. I think that's important to have as many open cavities in the interior of the design, so you don't have a great big patch of vinyl on your shirt. It helps with the hand, because if there's ever a pushback on this process, is, oh, it doesn't feel like ink. Well, it's not ink. It never will be. So we have to manage our expectations of our customers that it is a great process. It's more vibrant than you'll ever have with just ink to shirt, but there is going to be a bit of a film there. So the more fabric that can show through, the better off the hand is overall, and it'll be more acceptable to your customers, or at least to you. I think we worry about it more than our customers do. So now it's done printing. At this point, it would do an automatic sheet cut and cut it off. Now comes the fun, the weeding process. Here we're just pulling away the parts we don't need, just like weeding always is, no matter what process, whether it's vinyl or print and cut. So it pulls away all the excess inside cavities. I believe it's a good idea, exactly what she did, to get the inside cavities first and then pull away from the outside. And after this is done being weeded, we need to lift that off of that carrier. So it's there, that's not ready, because we had to print in the positive, nothing reverse like you do with regular HTV. We take a mask, a very sticky membrane that she's going to drop the center down so it hits the center first and then fall out to the sides. That's just to help make sure it's going evenly with minimal air bubbles. And then with a simple squeegee, she'll just make sure that it's engaged really well so that we can lift it off of there. And she'll probably go, I've watched the video, and it's always fun to watch on videos. People are always real tentative about how things are peeling off. Get real careful. Once you've done one, you know that it's adhering very well. There's no issues. You'll start gripping and ripping this, so it doesn't. You don't spend as much time. You try to increase your efficiencies here.
Bob,
go ahead.
Just explain that you do not have a printer for view while doing this. And also, I've got a question that came through, and I'm sure there's more interest about general cost. Are you going to cover that in a slide later on? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, we'll get to it. Yeah. So another way to do that process, if you did in volume, you had a bigger production facility, would actually utilize a cold laminator. If you're doing full, a lot of longer jobs, I like to keep it manageable, about something I can just carry the wingspan of two hands, so it's not awkward to work with. So when you lay it down on the shirt, now this is 100% polyester, so that probably, it could be any of our materials, but it's probably the lower temp application, so you didn't get a scorch mark. So I'm guessing this was a Super Tech opaque, which goes at a nice low temp of like 275, 280. Use the cover sheet. I do sometimes I don't, but it's a good practice to do. And then it peels hot.
So Bob.
Yes, sir.
Just to be sure, should we be seeing just you speaking right now? Are you running a video?
Oh, Lord, I am running a video. I did share it. Oh my gosh, we got to go back over again. I apologize. Wow. Hey, do you want to watch that again?
At least make the machine run for them. There's questions coming through about.
I apologize. Yeah. I should have checked with you before. It didn't come through. Let me make sure. Let me go back to the share the screen again. I bet that was fascinating for y'all to watch me sit there. It's like watching a silent movie. Hang on. Here we go. I didn't understand you when you asked before what you were asking me, but I sure get it now. Do you see it now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, here we go. So we won't have to talk too much over, because I gave you all the banter in advance. But now it's here we go. This is, like I said, this is a previous model, printing onto white media. And remember, this is unattended printing and cutting. So while as much fun as it is to watch this magic happen, if you've got one of these, then you probably want to be doing something else at this point. Doing more weeding and masking, the post-production portion of it, instead of just enjoying this on the front end of it. Yeah, so which is the beauty of this, because it allows you to multitask. It does all the work. It's an employee that doesn't call off work. So it's printing and cutting. While that's happening, I'm doing the second processes, which we'll do here in a minute. So once that's done printing, it rolls right back and begins the contour cut. It picks up the cutting mechanism, and it's going to cut right to the material or through the material and just to the carrier, just like you would with any standard vinyl cutter. In fact, that print or that cutting mechanism there, the whole motor system and everything is exactly the same as the Roland GS24. So there's not, if you have that type of cutter already, you'd be sharing the same blade, hold the same blades and everything.
Bob, can you quickly explain extending out a bleed so that you don't have to have a white border necessarily? Give the tips and tricks for not.
Yeah, well, actually, if properly calibrated, you can cut right to the ink line, but things change and things move and things like that. So, but in order not to have that white ink line or that white, no ink there, the actual material line around the outside, you've got a couple options. You can, when you put that cut line on, you can actually put a bit of a bleed around the outside. So the ink goes past where you're going to cut, so that you don't have that issue of potential of a little white wisp of white around the outside. Or the other option is too, if you've got a design like this where who knows how much contour was supposed to be on the outside, I just tuck my cut line in just a fraction, like a 0.02 of a millimeter, so that it goes, you have a little bit of room. So yeah, you don't have to have the white border. That's a fact. Now, some materials are a little bit dicey, and because of you'd have to let them cure for a while. Sometimes a white border is necessary when it comes to detail. But this is the masking process that we talked about, using just a medium tack magic mask, squeezing it down. And like she does, like she's going to do, my favorite is, instead of just lifting up the mask, I like to take the carrier off of it. It seems to work a little bit better. I feel more comfortable with it that way. This is the part where I say we always feel a little bit tentative on camera, worrying about something's going to lift. But once you know you've got good adhesion, this is the part we know we just take it and rip it and be done. And we talked about saving that waxed paper that the mask came on. You put the design back on that just so it doesn't stick to other things, because you do about 6 or 8 of these, and you're going to line them up. They're going to start sticking to one another. So it's just to keep them from picking up any dirt, lint, or even just sticking to one another. She pre-prints, or preheats rather, and applies directly to the fabric. The end result is literally a very extremely durable, vibrant color, as you can see. Tons of different colors, and the real cool thing is gradients and fade. It's a true 4-color process design that was done very easily and cost effectively. And we will get to those costs here very shortly. And there's the finished product. That with that type of color on that higher end fabric, your potential sale price goes through the roof, as opposed to, say, a single color design or something that's just a very basic type of image. So this is how you can really appeal to your customer base. Again, we talk about good, better, best. This is getting close to the best end of it up there. We'll stop the share here. And I do want to talk about the different types of applications, and then we'll get into the cost to produce. I have 14 minutes left. All right, so applications. This is the versatility part. What can I make with this type of printer? all types of apparel. We already talked about that. Performance wear, lycra, spandex, cordura. You get into all the accessories, the bags, the backpacks, any of the other soft promotional items. We've done binders, synthetic leather, directly to leathers, different. Again, it's all about the material you want to press it on, but it's all very doable to get full color on a lot of promotional type of products. Now you can also, really take advantage of the versatility and full color banner printing. I mean, this is what these machines were born for, was to do this outdoor type of product. We're taking that technology and utilizing it for heat transfer and for apparel, but also decals and vehicles and windows, wall graphics like fatheads, all available to you, posters, floor graphics, helmet decals, bumper stickers, anything that you can eat. If you can't get it on a heat press, then a good chance that it's a hard good. Then you're going to use one of these other types of outdoor processes to get full color on. So extreme versatility with this. The cost to produce, and then we'll talk about the cost of the unit itself, but to actually produce, and the important part to me is the apparel. You're looking at everything short of your labor, which means the material you're printing on, the ink you're printing with, and even the transfer mass that you're lifting it up with. That's going to range between $0.015 and 3 cents a square inch. Usually about 2 cents a square inch is a good number to say if you're using a standard material. We get up to the threes as you get into some of the premium type materials, like into the SuperTech line with a sub-block and or the glitter type of print. We have glitter that's going to cost a little more. But for your day-to-day type of stuff, 2 cents a square inch totally makes sense. If you break that down, what's that per square foot? Well, it's $2.88 because there's 144 square inches in a square foot. Decals, it's hard to even measure when talking square inches. It's a fraction of a penny per square inch. So the decals are super, super cheap and a great add-on sale. You've got this logo, killer logo left chest that this corporation wants you to do all their apparel for, and throw in a couple decals and say, try these out. And it just didn't cost anything. We get the same logo there and it costs you next to nothing. And next thing you know, they're ordering hundreds of those. And there's a big, big markup on those. In fact, the markup on the non-wearables is exceptionally higher than it is for apparel. The apparel has been kind of really watered down. It's been very competitive. That not so much when it's in the sign industry. So decals, banners, wall graphics, satin canvas, like for actual true photorealism. So I mean, banners cost you maybe 50 cents per square foot. Wall graphics are somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.20 per square foot, and canvas about $1.35 a square foot. So when you do the math on that little 16 by 20 that you would hang on a satin canvas, for a senior picture or something like that, it's a huge bargain. You're getting there selling this for like $75 to $100. Okay, I'm going to start sharing again because I want to show you the show specials, because I want to give you an opportunity to know what it costs to actually get into this if it's something that you want to do. All right, share screen. And if you don't see it right away, mark screen. Are we good?
Looks good.
All right. So this is the Roland TrueViz SG2 now, this particular unit is a 4-color system. It's a very basic 30-inch machine, but honestly, it's pretty much all you need, especially if you're just doing apparel and decals. So it's a 30-inch wide machine. This package that we have here comes with a 10-yard roll of our glitter and the accompanying mask with a high tack, the 10 yards of the 30-inch express print, as well as the mask that goes with that, on-site installation and software training and shipping included. So, everything that you see in this price of $15,233.79 includes everything that you see there. And that on-site setup and training is invaluable. It's huge. They spend the bulk of the day with you and getting you really up and running properly, teaching you how to use the software, use the machine, as well as whatever maintenance you would have to do. Now there's a 54-inch version of that exact same type of, the media bundle will change because there'll be some 54 in there, I'm sure, but the cost on that one's only $17,439 for the SG. Now the SG2 line is the latest version out in this size of this line, but it is a 4-color CMYK. And honestly, unless you're doing total true photorealism and you have to hit a lot of different types of colors, the SG2 could be all you need. The higher end version is the VG2. The VG2 only comes in 54 and maybe a 64 as well. So you're not going to get a 30-inch machine in the VG. The difference there is now we have an 8-color system. So we have not only CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. We also have light magenta, light cyan, and light black. The light black is huge when it comes to getting grayscale. It's hard to get a good true gray without getting a shift from orange to green type of scenario. And speaking of orange to green, you have the option of adding orange or green to actually increase the number of type of colors, getting true athletic golds that you can using the orange, because that's a little bit tougher to get as well. There's a lot more to there. We can get, there's a lot more detail to be had in all of that. I will tell you that for years, when I sold these machines, people would jump at the 30-inch machine based on price. And I would always try to upsell them and say, you're going to hate yourself. You're going to want to do banners. You're going to want the 54-inch machine. I have personally changed a little bit over the years because the wholesale banners have become so affordable that I'm starting to swing back the other way. This is just me personally. That the 30-inch may be all you need, and you would, for all the banners that you do, maybe you outsource them. But if you're going to do a lot of them, then absolutely get it. Or if you're going to do car wraps, then you want the wider format. So those are the show specials. Those are the different types of models. There's a lot more detail to go into that. If you are interested and want to know more, and I throw this on here just so you have the information, you can schedule a one-on-one meeting with an expert. Or if you want to just email me that you're interested, I can get you connected with the right person. My email is there, bob.robinson@stahls.com. So what questions do we have? I'm going to take a breath.
I don't see too many for you, Bob, but I'm going to interject if I could. Can you
Please do.
Can you approximate, if you could maybe give the folks a idea of the type of space you would set aside for a printer in a small shop?
Good question. I appreciate that. Yeah, honestly, if it's, say it's a 30-inch machine, yeah, they're going to be about 7 or 8 feet long. So I would, just for the printer itself, I would have a 4x8 space. Now, if you're going to do everything in that room, yeah, you're going to need, I would have like behind it, maybe another 8-foot table for all my weeding and masking, or not, yeah, weeding and masking type of post-production. So that's close by. So really, and then is my heat press close to that, or is that going somewhere else? If it's all one type of shop, so I've got 8 feet, I've got 4 feet, 4 feet, 4 feet, 16. If I had a 16 by 20 room, I would be loaded for bear. I had everything that I need. I even have room to store my rolls vertically on the floor rack and have place for my apparel. But for the machine itself, you're looking at about a 3-foot by 8-foot space for the actual machine. And it's kind of nice too, because it's on wheels. So if I have to get to the back, which is where I can probably, I think you've seen this enough, I can stop sharing. If you can get to the back where you load the material on, it's on wheels, and we've always had it just right up against the wall. When it's time to load the media, I just pull out one side and get behind it, load the media, and push it back in. So it's not you can see very very convenient when it comes to that. All right, so we are 5 minutes. Hey, 5 minutes ahead of time. I didn't have to rush as hard. So, well, I appreciate everyone's attendance. I appreciate not just this one, but again, the whole gamut of sessions that you've been attending there. We really appreciate you joining in with us, and hopefully that we've shared some really good information that's going to help change your business and for the better, and make us all better decorators. So that being said, I'll be signing off, and I appreciate your attendance as well as Mark's help throughout all of this. So have a great rest of your evening. I think there's one more session to get through. Thanks a lot.